Hi, welcome to Evidence for Faith. It's your host, Michael Lane, back with you with an artifact fact. This time, we're going to be talking about evidence for the temple. The artifact we're in mention here is what's called the Arad artifact number 18. You can see this is a small little thing, just about 2.5 inches by about 1 3/4 inches wide. We'll get back into what this is in a minute, but before we get too far into things, I want to explain something. You see, today, many Muslims and some others do not believe that the Jews ever lived in the Levant area of Israel. They certainly claim that there was never a Jewish temple there in Jerusalem. Now, the reason behind this opinion has nothing whatsoever to do with archaeology or with epigraphic evidence that there is so much of. But the thing is, it all fits into their own agenda. And they follow this more than they're following documented and undisputable historical evidence. Well, in a previous lesson, we talked about evidence for the temple. We talked about the ivory pomegranate, small little piece shaped like a pomegranate that dates back to Solomon's temple. Some people, there's a few people who say that this is still a forgery, but the vast community now agrees this is authentic from Solomon's temple. We have a great lesson on that. I encourage you to check out the ivory pomegranate on our website of the Artifact Facts. It's fascinating, this little thing here. But in this lesson, we're going to be dealing with something else that is that's also talking about the temple of God, and it's another piece of evidence dating back, we believe, to the 6th century BC. Now, this would be, if it's the 6th century BC, this would be undoubtedly Solomon's temple. Yes, the one that King Solomon, the son of David, actually built in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. That would have been built around the 10th century BC. And that was the first, it's sometimes called the first Jewish temple. And this piece of evidence, you would think, well, if this is talking about, and this has to do with the temple itself in Jerusalem, it must have been found in Jerusalem. No, it wasn't. It was found 36 miles to the south of Jerusalem in an ancient city called Arad. Now, Arad is, like I say, 36 miles. That's about 58 kilometers or so. As the crow flies, you just can't drive a straight line. As many places like that are like that in the world. But it's in the Negev area of Israel. So we're out in a desert area. Arad, let me just tell you a little bit about the city of Arad. Arad was originally settled by the Canaanites, you see. And we don't know exactly when they built this huge, and I mean it's huge city. We believe it probably, from studying the pottery and stuff, it dated back to around 3,500 BC, which is even before the time of Abraham. We're way back there. We do know from Joshua's conquest, the book of Joshua, when the Israelites come into the promised land, they conquered Arad and the area around the city. And so that happened. And because the reason this is so important, Arad sits in a very strategic place, as you can see on a map that we're showing you on our screen here. It's sat in an area, it just looks like it's out in the desert, but this was very important on some roads leading to other countries, down to Egypt and stuff. So it was in a strategic position. That's why when the Assyrians came around 701 BC, this is described in the Bible, the Assyrians coming and conquering this land around 701, they would have destroyed Arad. Also, it was rebuilt then, we know, because there's building stuff that dates after the Assyrian occupation, or destruction, I should say. And when the Nebuchadnezzar comes to the Babylonians around 587 BC, it's destroyed again. So that is a little bit, you can see we have some beautiful pictures of this ancient city, and it was huge. I love taking people to Arad when we go to Israel, because very, very few groups ever go there. And it's the site of something that is, we'll talk about in just a second, that is very, very exciting historically and stuff. Now, where did this thing come from? Back in the 1960s, a very, very well-known, very famous Israeli archaeologist, his name was Yohanan Aharoni, very famous person, I believe he's dead today, but he studied Arad. He was doing a major study here, while he was doing this, he found over 200 ostraca. Now, ostraca, the singular is ostracon. Ostraca are broken pieces of pottery. And you can see I have some other ones here. We've talked about these things in some of our other lessons and things, but they're broken pieces of pottery. And some of them are pretty big, some are quite small, as you see the one we're talking about today. But these pieces of pottery are very important because unlike what we would do today, they would use unbroken or pieces of broken pottery, and they would write, as you can see, there's script written on these things, and they used them for writing receipts, like stores and stuff would write receipts. They would also be used for writing letters or notes. They're the original post-it notes of ancient time because papyrus was so expensive. It was so much easier just to, because there was pottery everywhere. They'd save the big pieces, and then they would use these as post-it notes. You could write letters on these. Yes, I'm not kidding. They would send something like this as a letter. And it's just fascinating how that's what they used to do in those days. Now, as Professor Aharoni was digging around in Arad, he found over 200 broken pieces of pottery that had writing on them. Thus, we call them an ostraca. And this one here is very, very particular and very interesting. And wow, the history of what this has on it is amazing. Because there were 200 of them, so what they do is they number them. This one is often called, and you can check this on, go to Google or DuckDuckGo or something and type in Arad, Ostracon, number 18. This is number 18, and this one is extremely famous. It's in the original, obviously. I don't have the original, I'd be arrested. This is in the Israel Museum. But what is written on this is amazing because it actually talks about the house of Yehova, or what Americans usually call Yahweh. The house of Yahweh. And the house of Yahweh is a way of saying the temple of Yahweh. It's the same thing. The Hebrew word can be taken that way. It's written in a Proto-Hebrew style of writing, and it refers to the temple of God, the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem. Now, this would have been, for the time period that this was found, which was before Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the city, this is talking about the only temple that would be in existence in Jerusalem, or anywhere around the temple of God, would be this one in Jerusalem. Thus, Solomon's temple is what we're talking about. Now, just to let you see, let's take a look at this and let me explain a few things about it. What we see with a close-up now of this, you can see it's just a thin, broken piece of pottery, but it actually has writing on this, and it's written in a Proto-Hebrew as it goes across, but it does mention down towards the bottom here about the house of Yahweh down in here specifically. It also mentions a couple of names, but you can see this is a very small, just a few inches or a few centimeters by a few centimeters. It's a small and it's very thin piece. So that's what we're actually looking for. And they found this just in the dirt, this beautiful little piece here. Now, because it says the house of Yahweh, it does not mention the city of Jerusalem. There are some skeptics, very, very few, but there are a few skeptics, I should say, that actually believe that this is not in reference to the temple that Solomon made in Jerusalem, but in fact to an illegal temple that Solomon built in his latter days of his reign. If you recall, Solomon, later in his life, he walked away from God and he started worshiping other gods and doing a lot of things illegal according to what God's laws were. One of the things that he did is he built another temple in the city of Arad, and this temple is still there, the remains of it. Now, we're seeing pictures right now showing you pictures. There's a large, you can see a very, very large square, huge in size. This was the altar that was there. The bronze altar is gone, but the Holy of Holies is sitting over in the back. And there was, even when this was dug out and discovered, they found plaques that possibly were supposed to be symbolic of the Ten Commandments. And you can see also that this is a very, very large city. Part of it looks like a castle that looks like it should come out of medieval times, but actually this was actually built probably closer to the time of Abraham. And now, because this huge city, Solomon built this temple there, and it was illegal. We believe that this temple, the evidence shows that this temple was destroyed. But some skeptics say that this letter was written dealing with that temple. Well, that is so illogical. Why would the person who's writing this letter actually make a reference, send a letter out or get a letter from someone, and he's writing this letter? Actually, he's writing a letter and he's mentioning a question about the temple. If this was in reference to the temple there in Arad, why would he write it? He lives there. Makes no sense. He's talking about the temple that's in Jerusalem. Practically every scholar accepts that and believes that. There's no question about it. And that temple was destroyed by probably Hezekiah, though it could have been Josiah. They both did religious reforms where they went about and they destroyed the high places and temples and stuff. This temple was dismantled and destroyed. Parts of it have been reassembled now to let you see what it looked like. But what's really interesting is about the inscription. I've talked about it, and let me translate what this reads on here, and you can hear yourself what this is saying, what this letter is. It reads, "To my Lord Elishabed, may Yahweh inquire after your well-being, and now give to Shemarahu a measure of flour, and to the Kerosite you will give a measure of flour. And concerning the matter about which you commanded me, it is well. He is staying in the house of Yahweh." That's the inscription. Now, we might not think much of this. It's talking about somebody getting flour, some people getting measures of flour, some food and stuff like this. No doubt the city was under siege at the time, and that's why this was important. But he's asking Elishabed about somebody and where he's staying and about his condition. And he's getting a reply here that he's staying in the house of Yahweh. And that's fascinating because it specifically mentions that there is a temple of Yahweh, not mentioning the one, it's not talking about the one in Arad, it's talking about one someplace else. And of course, the true temple of Yahweh would be in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. So that's where most scholars accept and believe that this is dealing with. Thus we have, and this is one of the most important things, we have one of the most important pieces of evidence that there was a temple to God in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. This is evidence of that. And it's undisputable evidence that this came out of the ground, and it's an ancient letter talking about and mentioning the house of Yahweh. Thus, there's no question the Israelites were living in the Levant, in that area, what is today is called the Palestinian area. It's the Levant, in that area in present-day Israel. And the thing is, that temple did exist. So, no question about it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this short little lesson here. I know you probably never heard of the Ostracon number 18 from Arad, but now you know about this. And again, this helps support what we read in the Word of God. I tell you, my friends, the Bible is true. There's never been an archaeological discovery that disproves the Bible, yet there's been tens of thousands of discoveries that support it. So, until we meet again, take care, and may God bless.